Greetings, everyone, and I welcome you to the Imperialist Christian. I'll be your host, Chaos OMD.
And I'll be the co-host Dorkzilla, so he'll be bringing the chaos, I'll be bringing the dorky. Stay tuned for what happens next.
On my world, we have learned an inauguration is simply a signal to assassins that a new target has been set up on the firing range.
The main idea of this channel is to be focused around Christian ideals, but I also want to show that despite a well-learned stereotype, that there are Christians out there that can be of sound mind and can think with logic linear thinking, with the hope that maybe I can answer questions that I myself have struggled with since the beginning of my walk with God, with opening an egalitarian dialogue with our fellow human race who don't share our beliefs. I also want my voice to be heard, using my rights and speak my mind while I still have a chance. So, before we get into anything, I'd first like to start off by saying why I've started this channel. Mainly, I have 3 reasons.
Can you sing me Everything is Awesome?
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything is awesome. Yeah, have a dream.
Another point as to what inspired me to start this channel, I was at my office going through reports at my desk, and the contents of these reports, if read by the general public, would convince the most basic of man the true evils of this world. So, to ease the bluntness of the abilities of what one human can do to another, I have music, or an audiobook, or random YouTube videos that focus on a variety of topics from politics, religion, random video game overviews. After finishing one video, I would normally stop the auto load and select a video that I wanted to listen to. However, a coworker asked me something and I got distracted. I was ignoring what I was hearing at first until something caught my attention.
So Bob, we're not talking about that, shut your fucking mouth. He carries on by saying, look, are you going to say that feminism is dogmatic and has no scientific basis, just blind belief? To which the stupidest man on earth replies, it is not her job to educate you, bro. Which, it's so unbelievably stupid given that it is precisely what she got $160,000 to do! You fucking spastic!
That caught me so off guard that I had to take a closer look. After restarting and finishing the episode of This Week in Stupid, it had been a long time since I laughed that hard at work. I had to find out who this guy is. Clicking on his main page, and the first thing that I see is video clips of other people saying what a fucktard this guy is. I'm like, this guy's gotta have some balls to put his opposition up front like that. I like this guy. The next thing I know, I'm introduced to other entertaining shitlords, as they call themselves. After watching a good amount of feminist bashing and centuries-old criticism of religious ideology, I started to see how my generation fucked up the next generation by allowing these gold star, everybody wins, and self-entitled, self-centered asshats, and the rest of whom have clearly never left high school, sticking heavily to the cliques and keeping outcasts, which triggered me to remove myself from social reforms in the first place. Why the imperialist approach? That already has dogma against it with the anti-Zionists coming out of Palestine. Why not just use the same old kingdom of God that every other Christian uses? Well, through my personal studies, the loving and peaceful God, and no, I am not saying he isn't, that was taught to me all those years ago, didn't seem to meet the full narrative of what I was reading in the Bible. Even more so when I would read statements that dealt with his name, Yahweh. Though this is not his real name, this is just a representation of whom he is. The overall translation of this Jewish Hebrew name means I am. A powerful statement that also means unchanging. Which means that the same God that saved Daniel from the lions, David's exile from the full might of King Saul's armies, and that saved Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego from the death fires of Babylon, is the same God that ordered the genocidal purge of the Holy Lands, that destroyed the earth in a flood, and whom will destroy the universe in fire. On top of this, God's law is very authoritarian, to the point that even Jesus said in Matthew 5:21 through 28, again in 15:18 through 19, James 1:14 and 15, just to name a few places, that even the very thoughts of sin are just as guilty at the same level of the sin itself. If that's not the very definition of authoritarianism, then I must be more brainwashed than I realized. Now this is where my fellow Christians would argue that I'm being too cynical, and that I need to focus on the love of God and His mercy. To a point, they would be right. As much as I would love to start diving into my points, this is just an introductory video. This, however, does give me the opportunity to give a breakdown of how my channel is going to be progressed. One section will be focused on the laws of God, where I'll attempt to lay out God's law in a way that a lawyer would explain the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Another topic I would wish to press is in the scientific community.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Look, hear me out on this. For too long, creationists and evolutionists have been fighting for so long that we've allowed an even more dangerous foe to take away our right to even have an open debate. I speak of political correctness and social justice warriors. These groups have captured the minds of the youth in a way that was best told by a man who changed the world. He alone owns the youth, gains the future. Adolf Hitler. Even though we might not agree on the origins of the universe, we can at least use our debates to fuel us, to prove and disprove each other. But to the end a debate solely on the point of, I'm offended? My God, creationists and evolutionists have been offending each other for the last 300 some odd years. And look at all of what we've accomplished. Science has been driven on the pursuit to prove something. Examples of this can wait until another time. The next topic that I'd like to address is the political arena. Now, Christians want to see politicians whom are believers, honorable, truthful, and have the people's best interest in mind. Yeah, that ship sailed over 100 years ago. The best that we can hope for now is someone who at least can pretend to balance the implications of the means justifying the ends and the ends justifying the means. In this regard, all I'd like to ask is that they not break laws while weighing the means against the ends. I would propose that religion could be used as a second counterbalance. Think of it like a compass. If a compass and the law are pointing in the same direction, then there are no issues. If they don't, well, that can wait for another day on future videos. With all the seriousness of the other topics, we must ask ourselves if Stephen King was right.
I think the term you're looking for is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Pretty sure.
So, let's have some fun. Let's break away from reality and escape. The mind needs to rest, so we can come back stronger than ever. Oh, but I will defend my hobbies just as much as I will defend my beliefs, especially with a lot of issues out there. To which I would say, even a broken clock is right twice a day, and if the clock's not broke, don't fix it.
I'm sorry, what?
To reinforce my points, I plan on using tried and proven skills that I've acquired over the last 11 years defending the U.S. and her allies from threats both foreign and domestic. I'm a guy who takes pride in my work and of how I do things. Am I perfect at my job? If I was perfect, I'd have Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi on the business end of a 50 cal depleted uranium sniper round. So, with that said, I wish to state that the same level of analytical research and assessments I use to defend a nation will be at the same level that I'll provide in my videos, with all references I've used displayed down below in the description section to be reviewed by you, the viewer. As an analyst, it's my job to dig through mountains of information looking for truth, half-truths, events, places, and people, all while still separating the lies from the rumors. The best example I can give is imagine trying to play 3D chess in the dark. You can't see your opponent's pieces, and adding to your challenge, you have to think 3 to 5 moves ahead of your opponent while still predicting your opponent's moves and understanding why he made those moves in the first place. There's a saying in the Intel community, the public will never hear of our successes, but they will always hear of our failures. Apologies for the small rant, but I just wanted to convey how serious I'll be presenting in my analysis to you so you can make an informed decision. I'll be briefing you the same way that I would brief any commander, with the 3 avenues of approach: the most likely, the most probable, and the most dangerous. With everything in these videos are my assessments. You're the commander. You're in charge of your own lives. Make your choice, but don't do it blindly. Have as much information as you can get, make your choice, and follow through with it to its very end.
Tell me more.
As I start to close this segment, the last thing I should address is why I have this spirograph looking thing in the background. For those who don't know what this symbol is, I figured it'd be more fun to show you rather than tell you. All you'll need is a D6, a ruler, pen or pencil, and a piece of paper. Then simply follow these instructions.
Wait, what?
Chaos game. It's very simple to play, but it has an extraordinary outcome. I begin with a big sheet of paper with 3 large points marked on it, labeled 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6. Now what I do is I choose a point at random on the sheet of paper. I'll shut my eyes to do that, and now I'll just wiggle the pen round and dab a point. There it is. That's my starting point. So now what I do is I roll the die, and it comes up with a 4. So what I do is I go halfway from my first point to the big point labeled 3 and 4. I'll mark that new point. That's my new point. I roll the die. This time it comes up with a 5, so I go halfway from my new point to the big dot marked 5 and 6, and I mark that point on the piece of paper. Now, of course, if you do this, you should use a ruler and do things accurately. You need to play it for about 24 hours or longer, and you need to play very fast. And now I roll the die. And this time it comes up with a 3, so I go halfway from my new point to the big dot marked 3, and that'll be about here. Now, of course, if you keep on doing this for a long time, what would you expect? You'd expect that you'd get an enormous mess of dots. But that's not what happens. Something very extraordinary and different happens.
You're serious?
I wish to thank you for your time and for allowing me to share my thoughts and voice with you. Hopefully you'll be back to listen to more of what I have to say in the future. Again, thank you for your time.